Okay, people, this is excited to announce this. Okay, cool, perfect. Okay, people, this is something very new. I've not seen anybody do this before. How I got this idea is from a poet that I used to like. He's dead now. Charles Bukowski. He used to do these things where he would walk into like a live audience and he would just read his poems. I think sometimes he'd read his unpublished poetry and he would again talk with the crowd. They'd kind of heckle him sometimes. He'd joke with them, and it was this really nice kind of community and vibe, and something very raw and authentic about this performance. So I remember I was watching one of the videos of him. He's just sitting down. He was an alcoholic. He was just sitting down with his whiskey and his cigarette, and he was just literally reading his poems, and then he would discuss where that poem came from and what inspired it. And I've just basically thought I wanted to do something similar. I wanted to have a place where I can just read my poetry and talk about where it came from, what inspired it. And just I wanted. There's many different ways that you may be able to consume this, and I don't know what it is because it's not really a podcast, but it's something that I just wanted to do and wanted to create. So here I am creating it, and it basically just be called poetry reading sessions, where I read my poetry, I break it down, and not even really break it down, just explain what I was going through, and again, and even the reflections that would come from my poetry and why I write and why I do what I do. And initially, I was going to turn this into like a whole community, and again, a paid community and whatever. But I remember I just wanted to do something. I feel like with my social media, my content creation, I'm always sometimes I'm monetizing it, sometimes whether it be brand deals, sponsorships, or again a paid community or something that I build. And I just wanted to do something that was just, hey, this is free. It's on YouTube. Probably clip it and make some clips from it. But just really just a place where we can connect. You can have this on when you're driving and you just want to listen to me ramble and yap and read some poetry. Or it can be a place where, again, you really do listen. Or, you know what? It could even be a thing where people tell me sometimes, I don't know if this is a compliment or an insult, by the way. People say my voice sends them to sleep. Now, take that as you want. I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult, so I'll just leave it to them. But anyway, I have some poems today that I've not released. I don't think I've released some of these. I don't remember writing. Oh, was it these ones I was going to do? Oh, okay. I was about to read a completely different batch of poems. Do you know what? We can do that but I might read these wrong though, because there's a lot of scribbles in them. Meaning, I don't know if they were meant to be the words that I meant to write. But anyway, like I said, this is going to be a very raw, trying to be very authentic piece of YouTube poetry thing, and who knows what this can go into. But again, so with the beautiful beginning and how we begin everything as Muslims, Bismillah. And I would like to also start with a nice again, for the non-Muslims, there's like a prayer upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it's just to get blessings and barak and all that. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراط مستقيم وعلى آله حق قدر مقداره العظيم. Okay, so this poem is called The Sad King. She asked, "Where do you turn when it's your turn to cry?" I reply, "In my movie, the hero was always meant to die. If you want to wear the title of king, you must accept the weight that it brings. And if you want the kingdom of gold praised by strangers, you must accept the darkness of its chambers. She asked, Is your heart made of stone? Do you no longer feel? I replied, just because you can't see my tears, does that make them less real? So that was basically, I guess, kind of self-explanatory. It's just, I think with this one, a lot of people praise me for things that I either have or praise me for qualities that I have. And funnily enough, they're not even qualities that I can really do anything with. Essentially, Allah is the one that gave me these qualities. So even if you was to brag about it, it's kind of stupid, because it's your qualities, and a lot of almost everything in your life is a gift from Allah. So again, and obviously on the flip side of those things is, for example, if people say, oh, they like my poetry and it really connects with them on a deep level, and I'm like, yeah, but if you really listen to the poetry, a lot of the times I'm talking about my suicidal ideation, I'm talking about my depression, I'm talking about all these things. And it's like, yeah, and if you want your gold to be praised by the strangers, you have to accept the darkness of its chambers. So the darkness of the chambers is like, yeah, you can have, like, again, everyone knows kingdoms and palaces, they look amazing, but underneath all of them have dark chambers where there's secrets and where a lot of bad things happen. And again, a lot of times when people get these praiseworthy qualities, we ignore all of the shameful qualities that they have, and believe me, I have a lot of those. So yeah, but yeah, this one, it can place tears in the prettiest girl's eyes. Nobody is safe. What? And you know what I like about this? I've actually forgot I wrote a lot of these poems, so like it's like we're discovering them together. Like, oh, this guy's pretty good. Okay, no, I think. Oh, sorry. Okay, let me try this one. This one is called Love, Death, and Hell. I really need to get out more. I need to, mate, just touch some grass. I live in Dubai, so I can't even touch grass. Just touch some sand. Okay, this one is called Love, Death, and Hell. I think we are all a little afraid of love, the model and the postman, because deep down we know to love is to die before death. They say death is the great equalizer, but even love transcends death. So love is the great equalizer. It does not care about your checklist or preferences, does not care of your name or your past. Love destroys all in its path. And those that don't submit die. Love can bring the greatest man to his knees. It can place the tears in the prettiest girl's eyes. Nobody is safe. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty good, that one. Anyway, I must have wrote this one ages ago. But yeah, again, just my reflections of love. I think especially in today's society, when, again, you know, when you see all this content and people are talking about, I don't want a guy unless he's 6'4" and he makes six figures, and you've got guys saying, well, I don't want her if she ain't got a fat ass, and this, and it's all, and we come to love something as divine as love, something as breathtaking and a mystery as love, as mysterious as love, and we come with our checklist and we're like, well, I want this and this. But if any of you have ever truly been in love, love does not care about what you think you want or need. I know so many people that I know their preferences, I know their checklists, I know what they would describe as their ideal woman, and they almost marry the complete opposite. Why? Because love doesn't care. Love doesn't care about what you think your preferences are. Allah can make you fall in love with someone that you would have never believed to be your type. And I think a lot of the problems in today's society is people getting in the way of that love, because love is a scary force. Like I said, the model, again, the Vogue model and the guy that delivers your post, they are both enamored and they're both in awe of this thing called love, because it brings us all to our knees at the end of the day. True love, that is. I'm not talking about this shallow fabricated love that we have in today's society that's being pushed on us. Literally, it's just all capitalistic bullshit, by the way. But anyway, but true love is a beautiful thing. And again, I don't know if a lot of you have been reading some of my like little short posts on Instagram, but I've been writing a lot about love and raising up the female from a male perspective, as well as kind of guiding the males back to reconnect with that love, because like I said, this whole love, this male female war, gender war that we've got going, there's an agenda behind it, and it's not like it's being pushed on us. So again, as people that claim to follow God and follow these things, we need to try and push back in a positive way again. And you don't have to be perfect to do that as well. I think I've gotten in my way a lot when I think, oh, because I'm not perfect, I shouldn't be speaking on certain things. And I think a lot of people have that kind of voice nagging in their head, but that voice is the devil, because it's stopping you from doing the work of God. It's stopping from you doing pious work. It's stopping you from doing the work that's needed in the world. Because again, if a sinner came up to me and told me that I'm doing something wrong, it doesn't matter if a sinner's telling me, it doesn't matter if a pious man is telling me, it doesn't matter if who's telling me. The message is what is important. So yeah, that's just something I was thinking of. I feel like a lot of people, maybe even you have gifts that you can share with the world, but because you're not perfect, or because you've again got some flaws here or mistakes here, you feel shy as to present yourself to the world. I understand, because I also have this thing. Okay, so this one, I didn't give it a name, it's just a very short one. It was, I'll call it Fire and Clay. Even the devil waged war with God when his fire couldn't melt clay. He showed me true hell is not to be close to the fire, but be... Okay, hold on, let me read that again. You know, sometimes my handwriting is so bad. Okay, cool. Even the devil waged war with God when his fire couldn't melt clay. He showed me true hell is not to be close to the fire, but to be distant from our lover. Again, pretty self-explanatory. The devil didn't want to bow because he's made out of fire. Adam was made out of clay. But actually, funnily enough, a lot of scholars say that was one of the first sins, essentially, was racism. Because, hey, I am of this, again, fire. You could say I'm white. He's of clay. Again, and Adam, funnily enough, was a very... Adam in Arabic is a very, very dark clay. So, again, people come to the conclusion that Adam was a black man. And not only a black man, I'm talking black. Like jet black. So, like, that, and that was where that clay comes from. But yeah, Adam was made from clay. Iblis was made from fire. And for that reason, he didn't want to bow. And then again, it just made me look at that whole kind of dynamic of the disobeying Allah. And it was... Is it hell because we're close to the fire? Because Iblis is from the fire and is in the fire. And again, I was just kind of thinking like, oh, is that his true punishment, or is his true punishment the fact that he is distant from Allah? And again, if anyone has been distant from Allah, and again, you feel that way when you go through kind of depressive lows and stuff, you understand that it feels like a burning. It feels like a very unpleasant experience to go through, almost like a burning, but an internal burning. So yeah, so I just wanted to talk about that, really. This is really fun. See, this is why I wanted to do it, because I'm being genuinely honest. I'm being genuinely honest. Like, I haven't had fun creating content in a while, Again, I like writing my poems and putting it together, but I like just doing things off the cuff, on the fly. You know what I mean? Again, one day, again, if it builds up, maybe I'll take this little thing on tour, and again, I can continue doing that thing that I liked when Charles Bukowski did it. But anyway, this one did really well on Instagram, to be honest. It was just a short one. It said, "I gave my heart to Allah. You can't hurt me anymore." And it's that idea, again, very simple. Once you hand over yourself to Allah, back to the source, once you place your love in Allah, these other things in creation can't hurt you anymore, because you are now back with your Creator before you've returned back to your Creator. We don't have to die in order to have that beautiful feeling. We can have it here. You have it in your moments of dhikr. When you really look at it, you only get your heart broken, really, when you have placed your love in something that never had no business owning your heart in the first place. Again, you see these people, boyfriend, girlfriends, relationships, to be honest, even husband and wives and stuff. I see that they're madly in love with their partner, and mashallah, that's good. But there is a level of where it's like we've overstepped the bounds of what this relationship was. And again, I believe a lot of people, there's a verse where it talks about, I'm not sure if it's a verse, but it talks about when people take themselves as their God, and it means they worship themselves. But I know a lot of people that love their partners to a level where it does look like a form of worship, I'm not going to lie. Again, and it's good to, again, love your partner, shower them with gifts or whatever. But again, at the end of the day, you are falling in love with a flawed human being. As a base level, human beings are flawed. So, I don't know, I've just always thought, like, why would you, like, just, I know logically, I know love doesn't really care about your logic, but logically, why would you fall in love with something that is flawed by nature? But yeah, again, and you accept that within somebody, their flawed nature, and you love them for that. But again, you don't get caught up in it where you forget the true love, which is Allah. And I think when you kind of connect back with that love, wallah, it's a beautiful thing. But anyway. Okay, so this one is called Past Heartbreak. I'm I need to get more poetic with my poetry titles, because it's literally just, anyway. Past Heartbreak. You think about the past often. You live in memories of heartbreak of the person you no longer are. How do you expect to put out old flames by adding more wood? Let go of the heartbreak. Let go of yourself. Step into love and let go of all your desires. For the source of all love gave light to that fire. This is, again, basically still talking about what I just mentioned. Why would you fall in love with something that is flawed? And let's put it this way. If you fall in love with a woman and you fall in love with her beauty, or you fall in love with how the mercy that she gives, these are all attributes that not only belong to Allah, but Allah is the fullest manifestation of that reality. So, for example, if you look at something beautiful, this is why some kind of divine love Sufis say you are looking at Allah, because beauty, the concept of beauty, is owned by Allah. That means anything beautiful in and of itself is Allah, because He is the owner of beauty. Again, I don't want to go too deep into what that entails, but it's a thing where, obviously, when I spoke about it just then, when it says, for the source of all that love gave light to that fire, the reason why you love your wife is the attributes of Allah. The reason why anything that you are drawn to in a beautiful way, in something that's beautiful and not in a bad way, that is Allah. So are you really falling in love with the person, or are you falling in love with Allah? And this is when people say, everywhere you turn is the face of Allah. This is when it's like, again, it's not saying, oh, that thing in and of itself is Allah. You're saying it's almost like it's like signposts that remind you of the greater reality. If I hear a beautiful piece of music, again, a lot of the times I think about Allah. If I look at something beautiful, a lot of the times, mashallah. I mean, it's like, and again, we laugh, or I laugh, and it's like, we laugh, but it's a form of dhikr. Like, when I see these things, and the first thing I go back to is Allah, again, these mundane things can become dhikr, and can become reflections, and can become moments that you spend with Allah. If you look at a beautiful sunrise, and again, in that moment, you're not even thinking about the sunrise, really. You're thinking about, like, wow, like the way Allah just paints the sky, the way He is the greatest painter, the way that orange blends with that blue, and how you know what I mean? And I think you can turn moments into very deep, reflective moments and pockets of remembrance with God. And again, when you do that with everything in your life, you can turn your life into a poem. You can turn your life into a painting. You turn your life into art. And it's a very beautiful state to be in. Again, it's also difficult because, again, you'll look at a beautiful sunset, everything's going well, and then someone will cut you up in the road and suddenly you're cussing out the man's mum. And then, you know what I mean? So this is again, that's why you have to always kind of keep coming back to that remembrance. But yeah, I think I actually published this one. Okay, published. Look at me, what a twat. Published. I think I posted this on Instagram. Technically, it's published. What a knob. Anyway, so this one is called "I Hide Within My Poetry." I hide within my poems. If you look in between my words, you'll find me there. My fears, my desires, my darkness and my light. I hide within my poems. I can't say these words in conversations. People might think I'm crazy, or suicidal, or both. My poems have given me freedom and also became my prison. I cannot speak the words of my soul. They can only be heard in my poems. And no one reads poetry anymore, so I don't think I'll ever be found. I mean, yeah. I don't like talking about these kind of poems because it's like, a bit too close to home. But it's just this thing of, again, I think all of us have this desire to be seen, and not always in like a fame way. Sometimes it's just to be seen by our family, to be seen by our lovers, to be understood by somebody, on a true, deep, authentic level, not on a surface level of. Because if I'm putting on a front and people fall in love with me, but I know who I truly am, I know what I truly am, I know who I want to be, my authentic self. You want people to fall in love with that version of you, because it's the easiest version of you to be. You don't want to put on a front and then people fall in love with that front, because you know that there's a disconnect. You still feel unseen by people, and I feel like that's been my story for a very large majority of my life, from around about the age of 9 or 10, from what I can remember. And it's where when you're not being your authentic self, you never feel loved, because you've not put yourself forward. So how can you truly be loved if nobody knows who you are? So yeah, and then it's just my kind of thing of, even though I'm a poet, and poets are known to be good at talking about their emotions and communications, I am extremely, extremely bad. And poetry has become an outlet for me, because instead of me coming to you and saying, oh, I'm sad, or I feel like I want to cry, or I'm suicidal, or I'm depressed and I want to end it all, I don't want to say that, because it makes me feel a certain way, whether it makes me feel weak. But with poetry, I can say it without saying it. So it's like I didn't say it, but I did say it. And like I said, my poems have given me freedom, but also became my prison. Because it's like, oh, it's the only way I feel like I can express myself anymore. In like this kind of, again, it's a good way, but it feels false sometimes. Because I'm not just saying what I'm going through, but at the same time, I don't want to. So, but at the same time, these poems give me that freedom to do that. Like I said, so they've given me my freedom, but they've also become my prison because I'm dependent upon them now. I have times where if I don't write poetry for like a week or something, I genuinely do feel like a build-up of, I don't know, like a blockage, like I haven't released something. Like even when I go to the gym, there's a physical release. I think my poems have become a mental, spiritual release or an emotional release that I didn't realize I needed. But yeah, hide within my poems because, again, to be honest, really, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be seen. I don't want to talk about it. Again, a lot of people, again, even my mother has told me, oh, get therapy and stuff. Again, I've had little sprints of therapy, but when she's like, oh, okay, but I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. I just want to deal with it, get on with it, write my poems. You know what I mean? Travel the world, lift my weights. But yeah, watch my anime. But yeah, yeah, that was it. Yeah, and then at the end when I said, and no one reads poetry anymore, so I don't think I'll ever be found. That was kind of a reflection on society, in terms of like people aren't really buying poetry books anymore and reading poems, and they've kind of let that element of life go. Like even just reading literature in general, I think people don't read. I feel like, to be honest, 2 out of 100 people read anymore. Like buy a book, read the book. I feel like it's a very, very small number. Maybe not. Maybe it's bigger. But from when I ask people and stuff, a lot of people tell me they don't read. They've got Audible. And maybe even that's why I've done it like this. Again, because people don't read, so it's like creating new formats for people to consume the art. But no one reads poetry anymore. But there's also a reflection of the state of society in terms of like, I feel like society at this point is very shallow. We don't look at things deeply anymore. We surface level, we skim surface everything. We never dive deep in something. And it's that thing, it's that, if you're a deep person, or if you're somebody that craves deep connections, what is it for you in this society? Like, do you have a place here, or do you know what I mean? Or is it, were you for a different time? Because again, sometimes I feel like that. Sometimes I read old poems and watch old movies and stuff and old animes, and I'm just like, why is this time period of life seem more ideal for me? But that's not the truth, because Allah has put me in this time period of life, therefore I'm meant to be here. And I don't know why. I'm joking. How many more have we got left? I mean, I'm trying to keep these episodes maybe like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, so maybe I will end this one here and we can go through the poems next time. But we can end with this poem. This one is called... Maybe end with 2 more. But yeah, because I think I've done more talking than more poetry reading. But you don't mind, because this is our safe space. This one is called Do Not Retreat. You know what? Now that I'm reading my poetry titles and now that I'm reading them out loud, they sound so shit. But anyway, do not retreat. Do not run from love. We run thinking we are protecting ourselves, thinking we are saving our hearts, when in reality, it is the running that kills us. The same thing we are running from, we are running to. We run from love out of fear that it will kill us, not knowing true death is found in the retreat. So do not retreat. Your life depends on it. Yes, and this was a poem that a poem actually inspired this poem. To be honest, I can't remember who the poet's name. I think it was a Persian poet, and basically it's this idea that, again, people nowadays, we run from love. We don't want anything, no deep interactions, because we fear. It's like people in today's society, they run from love because they don't want to be hurt anymore, and they think they're protecting themselves when they run away from this love. But the human being needs love. So in your attempt at protecting your heart by running away from the idea of love, you're actually killing yourself slowly. It's a much slower death, and you only feel it once you've realized you've been running away for so long. And again, perfect eulogy, not eulogy, I don't know if that's the right word. A perfect example of my life is I have ran away from people that have truly loved me, and I have ran away from people that I have loved. I wouldn't say love, but yeah, people that I could have, let's say, had something with, but out of fear of hurt, I retreat back into myself. And I've done that for years. And at first it's fine, because you're just like, yeah, you know what, you'll find someone else and blah, 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 a safer option. But the thing is, you do that for a while, and you just start, something within you start to kill. And again, whether it be your inability to express your emotions or feel love or express love. And again, like I said, that's a slower death, but and it's still pain. Again, I might not say I have a broken heart from a relationship or a broken heart from a person, but I definitely have a broken heart. Not even a broken heart, it's more of like a heart that's kind of withered away or grown colder over time, and kind of like just withered. Yeah, I think a withered heart. See, look, that's a poem right there. I think my heart is more, it's not broken, it's withered. Because when you don't use something, it just kind of withers away. And I feel like in protecting myself from heartbreak, I no longer used my heart. And now my heart is withering away, and I feel that decay inside my chest. This was, I'm gonna read the next poems we'll do on the next episode. I'm gonna do weekly poetry readings. Again, you can listen to this on your car journey. You can listen to this as you go to sleep. You can not listen to this at all and go do something else. But for people that like poetry or like to hear me yap, this is what we're doing. But yes, I'm really excited about this. And the thing is, I don't even know what I'm excited about, because I don't actually have a plan for it. I don't have no plan. I'm just going to post these on YouTube because this is something I really wanted to do and something I'm passionate about. And I just want to kind of just express myself in this way. And even this kind of, this 34 minutes of poetry reading has been very, like, I've enjoyed it. It's been very cathartic. It's been very, again, felt like a release, as well as me being productive and creative. So again, pat myself on the back for that one, because I'm glad I did it. I've been putting this off for a while, but alhamdulillah, we're here. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next poetry reading. I never had to know. Oh my Lord, I never know how to. Do you know what time it is, by the way, people? The time is almost 5 a.m. and I haven't slept. That's another thing why this works, because I'm a very bad insomniac, so this allows me to do something at night time and feel productive when I really need to go sleep. But yeah, anyway, thank you for joining me on this first poetry reading. Again, see you on the next one. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.